Someone asked me, what is your take about the church in State House? I said, if a Satanist was sitting there and he says, I'm going to build a temple for my God, the church will be in the streets. Satan will not be worshipped. And then I told the man, it's deeper than what you think. If you are a politician, you ought to have heard well that I'm ready to sacrifice 1.2 billion for an altar. The battle has shifted. It is not votes. It's now in the realm of sacrifice. So let a man come with his God. So you might just think it's a church. Well, how can I be so confident to announce? Because I know what this altar does for me. So I can sacrifice on it. Let me give you a scripture. Kings, 2 Kings 3:26. Yeah, we have to take our place. None will die. Our children will not be sacrificed for dragnets. And when the king of Moab saw what? That the battle was too fierce for him. What did he do? He took with him 700 men who drew sword, not to fight, to create a way. And after they created a way, break through to the king of Edom, but they could not. Look at 27. Those men. Then he took his eldest son. Everybody read. He took his eldest son, who would have reigned in his place, and who did what? Offered him as a burnt offering upon the wall. What happened? There was great indignation against Israel. So what did they do? They departed from him and returned to their land. They were fighting the king of Moab. When they realized the man never used a sword, he realized swords don't work. Let me shift the battle. Because things as far spiritual. What did he do? What did he do? Sacrificed his son. And then what happened? The battle shifted. So men thought it is combat. But what they didn't know, please give me that message, because that name indignation might be too deep for some people. Let's look at that indignation, what it means. Then he took his son, his firstborn, who will succeed him as king, and sacrificed him on the wall. That set off furious anger. Furious anger. So what happened? The children of Israel were angry and afraid. So, though the prophet had prophesied they will win, they walked out of that battle without victory. So the fact that the prophetic was there, battle shifted. We are men of the spirit. We need to see things not as men are seeing them. Hey. So let a generation not be caught up in spiritual ceasefire. Let a generation not be caught. Pastor, you saying it's not right for us to, please have understanding of the battle before you engage. Because a battle has two things: casualties and spoils. Yeah. So you must have understanding. And when the strategy shifts, have you ever read about Israel? Was it a one-day war? Yes. They fasted for 7 days. And it is captured in history. They won. It was the fastest battle they ever won. Because the opponent came with missiles. They came with spiritual weapons. They entered into a fast. I don't want to say many things, but allow me to tell you, if 1.2 billion will be put for building a church, do you have stature to match that sacrifice? It's not a building. And the man said, I'll build with my money. So that is to tell you, you can advise me on how to use government money, but not mine. It's a very radical statement. If you listen to it, and he said, matters God, we will not negotiate. You can do what you want to do. There is a certain light he must have. Can I tell you something? Can I tell you something? When you understand the power of prayer, sometimes you might not be the one praying, but there are people surrounding you with prayer. Do you know there is something we call witchcraft prayers? Do you know if the 1,000 of you gather and begin to pray against me, do you know spiritually you will bring me down? So if you're building an altar of 8,000 men, 8,000. Hey. Pastor, what is your take? I have not had heaven, but I'm standing on the tower to see what God will say. But what I know, Kenya destiny will never sink. How the Lord will come, I don't know. Whether by shaking systems, whether by doing what, but what I know, war will never be our portion. What I know, the country will never sink. What I know, he that sees the future has already fixed the nation. And what I know, a great surprise lies ahead. And sitasema mingi, but a great surprise lies ahead. Let the will of God prevail over this land, not the agenda of men, not the will of men. There's a young man I was talking to, when he was in that Gen Z movement, when they approached State House, one of the leaders told him, now please leave and come back, because even those telling them to go are feeling now you have gone too far. Tunataka kutingike, lakini sivyo mnatingisha. Kumetingika sana. Because they also know if we enter by that system, we are not safe. You'll also come and one day mututingi. So wanataka tu kukae kuna kajoto kalete opportunity and negotiation. Tusikae mbali sana. Because the deal is not you and me. The deal is what they call the national cake. Have you heard what people are saying? You don't talk. You don't talk when you are eating. You know, our brothers have said table manners. Table manners. So the people in the mountain are saying we are far from the table. Is someone getting this? So don't be caught up with a man trying to go and eat. Yet you are there saying I'm dying for Kenya. When that man will sit on that table, he will keep quiet. As they were quiet before. Yeah, they were quiet before. They were quiet before. It can't be that now you become so patriotic. Is use the people to negotiate power. Oh. Tell your neighbor you'll see the Lord in the land of the living. And tell your neighbor, Kenya will be fixed. And I'll finish with this statement. Whatever happened was not a deal between a man and a pastor. It was a deal between a man and God. The prophecies on that throne were not delivered by men. Whoever will deal with that throne is beyond a generation. The Lord himself is responsible. And so this matter is beyond you and me. But Kenya will prevail.
The president is telling us he has raised an altar that nobody else can be able to raise in this country. That now he has direct and specific powers to have dominion over this country. He is raising a dominance. Building a church is not a crime. You can also go and build us. Whatever Ruto is doing is not a crime. You can also do everything that you do. But now look at ndio kwa maana amejenga kanisa dame. Ndio kwa maana amejenga kanisa dame. Sema in ya 1.2 billion yourself into matters of God, the more you become more powerful. Hiyo ndio reason ya kujenga madhabahu. Na ndio kwa maana hakuna madhabahu ingine. Wacha nikupatie historia ya nani? Ya ikulu ya Nairobi venye iko. Ikulu ya Nairobi imejengwa. It is a house on the hill. It is built on the highest peak of Nairobi County. The highest peak of the Nairobi County. Na ukimiangalia hapa chini kabisa, hapa Nyerere Road, ukuje Serena, ukuje Uhuru Park, ukipanda kutoka Nyayo House, unaona ni mlima Mount Kenya unapanda. That's the symbolic move. Ni mlima wa Mount Kenya ikipanda. Kwa hivyo amejenga ikulu at the peak. Sasa amechukua Mount Kenya, ameipeleka kule town, ameipeleka ndani ya state, amejenga madhabahu at the peak of Mount Kenya. And that's the reason I'm here to cancel what he did. But you guys, you don't understand what is happening. Na ndio anataka muingie kwa barabara, murushe mawe, mumwagwe damu, sacrifice, aisacrifice ndio ifanye kazi. Tumewekwa kwenye mtego ambao nyinyi wenyewe amewakaranga alone. He has people. When he was campaigning, alienda kila knew what he was doing. He knows how to control altars. You need to control spheres. You need to control the energies. You need to control the networks. What you need to do is to clone. Clone it. Once you do a replica, then clone it. You take it wherever you want. That is what Pope Leo did. He came to this mountain and cloned the mountain. He took it to Vatican. He became the president. This is what Queen Elizabeth did. She was at the treetop. She cloned. And this is why Charles was here, to clone it. This is why Obama was here. When Obama came, when he was a senator, he came to the mountain. And that's why Gachagua was telling us, a sequence, a frequency that comes from here. And the frequency that comes from this mountain, nobody can be able to handle it. Nobody, not unless you have a spiritual awakening, a spiritual power, a spiritual authority that no anyone has it. And this is the reason I'm asking you guys, stop what we are doing. Stop these street battles with Ruto. You will not make it. He's racing. The more he's shedding, the more the blood is being shed, the more he becomes. And this is the thing that you are willing to understand it. Listen now, why we're build a church? We are Christian. We are all Christian. Why we're building a church why we need to make us so everybody of us that everybody is talking about it? Is it the only church? Is it just the what? Catholics have done good churches, best churches. The PC have done good churches. The Anglicans have done good churches. The Freemason has done their temple. Nobody's talking about them. But we are talking about a church. And a church, nobody should be able to. Muslims do build their mosques and nothing. And nobody talks about it because it's done by one person. And one person finishes the game. But why are we talking about this church in the hill? Because it is built at the peak of the capital city. And it is a replica. It was picked from here. They came, picked the soil from here. And on the foundation of that church, it is a soil from Mount Kenya. And then they collected soils from all 47 counties. So the church is built on the soil collected from the 47 counties.